morning, guys. What's going on? Welcome on in. Happy Tuesday, August 20th. I just got in to the desk here, so I am looking around. Well, I haven't really looked at it much yet. Market literally just opened. I'm in a gold position. I've already been long from pretty much the breakout in here. And I was looking to get in on this breakout, which, in looking back now in hindsight, would have worked very, very well for an additional trade. It broke out at like 4 a.m. You know, I was not up. I didn't see it. I could have put a buy stop. I personally decided against putting a buy stop before I went to bed. You know, I don't know. I could have. I did not. But yeah, it happened literally at 3 a.m. So Eastern time. If I was out west, I'm not up at that point anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, otherwise, we're still in it. We're in a long from the breakout here. I'm looking for 25.75. So another $45 to go from here on gold. So we'll see if we get that this week. I don't know if that'll happen. I mean, I don't think it will happen today. It would require a gold to make an additional like 2% move from here, which would be a lot, but it could. Either way, we'll watch that. Bitcoin's up 2%, but overall not crazy on that at all. I got a new Invisalign in, so if I got a lisp, then that's why. It's annoying, but I was not gonna wear. I just got the new one for this week, and I was like, I'll put it in after the stream, and then I just forgot to take that. So I put it in, and it's too late. But let's see. The 10-year down a little bit more again. It kind of keeps creeping down every day, but not to the lows of what we had 2 weeks ago. Yet the dollar down a little bit more. That's in, almost free fall right now. But grand scheme, I would expect, a reaction on the dollar on DXY, in this area here. So we're going to see what happens as we put more pressure on those lows of the past year. But we'll watch. I mean, I'll be watching that one kind of closely. Otherwise, here's SPY's chart. What do we got on SPY? Is it looking good? Yeah, I mean, there's a gap to fill to the upside, so SPY could be, in play if we get a long setup today. QQQ, maybe not as nice, in my opinion, because we are right now sitting at a volume node. Above that, though, above 45, and now we can be talking, but we'll see if we get there today. DIA, I mean, very overall, though, like, that's close to highs. It could be good, but aggressive move. Same as IWM, could be good, but again, they've had some, not as much there. There's been some aggressive moves, so I don't want to get too, greedy on that front. Just make sure we have an understanding of, where things have been and how things are shaking out. So we'll see how that all plays out today. Otherwise, let's see the list. Tesla, #1 gainer on my large cap list, and it continues to push. This is a good look, in my opinion. I think you've got room up to the 240, I'm going to say. Well, actually, there's a volume node, 235. So I don't really like it as much once you get towards 233. But from that view, but then again, you look over here and say, we got a gap to fill up to about like 246, 245. So, and she's been strong. So, I mean, I wouldn't be bad bets there. I don't think, if we got a setup. So I will watch that today. Otherwise, what else is doing well? AMD's up a little bit. I don't really care about that chart. Google, I don't care about that chart either. Right now, at least Apple's been quite good. This is an interesting chart. Apple could be. Let the volume profile load up here for a second. Yeah, Apple could be good. Now, I have a bad history with Apple, but setup looks good. If we got a setup there, I would potentially trade that. Okay. Microsoft, not a huge fan of it right now, to be honest. Just, it's getting into a better position right now. I think there's more room as it pushes up over 425. But yeah. Amazon gap to fill to about 182, so it could be good. So I'm gonna watch there. I don't know. don't love it, so I would say that's probably not going to be traded today. Meta I like on the bigger time frames, and it's been a good stock for me in the past, but I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's making a push right here on the daily. We'll see if that can change today. If it gets above like 535, man, then we got something to talk about. Nvidia's down 0.5%, but it's been strong. It's trying to come back from the opening dip a little bit. I guess it gapped down a little bit because it closed very strong yesterday. But another one to watch. Very high likelihood that, you know, you have momentum here if the market keeps pushing higher. So that's the deal. Crude oil, nothing to talk about. Well, it's bouncing off the same area that we've had a couple bounces the past couple of months. So interesting spot, but I wouldn't care for that. Yeah, nothing really else to say on that front. So, yeah, that's an overview of what we got going on right now. And I think I'm just looking for a quick scan through of, you know, other stuff that might be moving that looks maybe interesting. Netflix, yeah. Oh, here we go. Here's one to watch. I've been thinking about adding Netflix to my main watch list. I haven't personally. Is that an all-time high? No, it's not. I should draw that marker. I should mark that all-time high here. Yes, yeah, pretty much 600-700. So you got an interesting look on Netflix. Let me go to the current time. I mean, okay, let's be real, right? Aggressive move to the upside off the dip where it came under 600. Here we now are approaching 700 2 weeks later, literally. So aggressive bounce back, but it has been strong. So you can't knock it. And it's been very strong. But coming up to now two big areas. 697 was the high from a couple of weeks back in July. And then like around 700, 701 is the all-time high. So we are approaching two what could be quite strong areas of resistance, although you never know. Maybe it blasts right through. I'm not going to, you know, I'm not here to say that it can't. It could. So we'll watch it. Strong morning. I would be skeptical, though, personally, of trading this one today, just because of where it is. Of, you know, the move it would have to still do to get to an all-time high would still be an additional % or so, which would mean that we'd have to be up 2% on the day, which is already a pretty good day. And then if you're going to really break out of all-time highs and go to like 705 to 710, that would require Netflix to be up 3 to 4% on the day, which is a lot. It can do it, but that, you know, you're asking for a lot already on the back of a massive move up off these lows. Just, you know, might be a lot to ask for a, you know, a Tuesday. I don't know. In August, August historically not the most momentum either. So, you know, it's something just to take into consideration. Well, if the setup is there, I'm not against it, but knowing those levels, I think, are good to frame the idea. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm considering moving Netflix over to my main large cap list. I just haven't traded a ton over the past, you know, year and a half to like have a ton of data on it, and maybe there's a reason why, but you know, it's one that moves quite good, and it's a nice price stock. I like where it is in terms of, you know, movement, momentum, and stuff. So I'm considering it, especially given how Apple has been kind of shitty in terms of momentum for me. I think my gut tells me that Netflix would be a better momentum trader than Apple, just based off the way it moves. But I don't know. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, I'm looking for. We'll be looking here, but not really like force. No reason to, you know, forcefully do anything. I'm just going through a quick scan of like the main names that I watch, and based on the 5-minute time frame, we talked about Tesla could be good to the upside to the, you know, the 230 area, 230s into the mid 230s, but that's a, you know, pop and then drop off the open. Not interested right now. AMD, we're not interested. Google, we're not really interested. Apple, I kind of am interested in Apple, to be honest with you. You know, as it's now breaking above this 227 area, I am, but we need a setup. So I would need a consolidation and then see how the consolidation shakes out. So Apple is on the radar. We'll watch it. Microsoft, I don't really care for that chart. Meta, we were saying it needs to push a little bit higher for me to be interested. Yeah, I mean, right now it's right in this volume node. I'm not a massive fan in there, but if we can get above that, then we can be talking. And then NVIDIA has been really strong, but currently down right now. I'm not looking for, I don't know if there'll be something there today. You have to break this level first, which is the high of yesterday at the close, pretty much, or the after hours. I don't know where that happened, like pretty much right at the end of the day. And then if we can get up there and consolidate like right below it, you know, maybe there's a trade to be had to the upside, but we'll see what it does. So I think Apple, honestly, as much as I don't love Apple, I think is where the best bets may be today, personally, for my strategy, for momentum. So that's the one we'll be watching them the closest, I think, for now. What did gold get to this morning? 25.31, roughly. Cool. But check out that gold weekly chart, though. Check this out. She wants it. She wants it. Monthly, very strong weekly, very strong monthly. Very nice stuff on gold. We'll see how she ends up holding up, if she can hold up off this move. Dow futures, no interest there. Russell futures, nope. NASDAQ futures, okay. But I won't be trading in this area. So nothing right now, but hey, nice little bounce. Could be a little bit of a break of the consolidation here, maybe. We'll see. S&P, a lot stronger. So yeah, if there's a play to be had future-wise, I think S&P makes more sense. And also, I think if you look at SPY, you can see a gap to fill on the daily time frame. So you're getting close to that. That would put you at about 562.25. So another like $2, give or take, from here on SPY, which is not that big of a move in the grand scheme, if they're being real. It's about like a 0.4%, move, which is like not much. So we could fill that gap today. I wouldn't be surprised. We'll see if it happens though. Otherwise, we'll be watching Apple, I think. But look at her. There was some promise there for a minute. But it's also the first 15 minutes of the day, so take that with a grain of salt. But this is kind of the story for me with Apple. Like if I even get a perfect setup, what tends to happen will be it breaks out, gives me a little push, and then immediately comes back down. Not that it gets like completely washed out and like completely reversed necessarily, but it tends to be like a slower mover and then choppy, and then eventually I stop out, type of situation. It's kind of what ends up happening on Apple when the past, fucking like year and a half that I remember trading it like this. It could change though, but it's kind of how it's been. So it's got to be slapping me in the face like, yo, here it is. Don't miss it for me to play it. There will be no forcing that for sure. Otherwise, news-wise, we were talking about that yesterday. I have it pulled out. Haven't exited out of that page, as you can tell from yesterday afternoon. So today you have a couple Fed speakers in the afternoon. FOMC minutes tomorrow afternoon, and then you've got the jobless claims and all that crap, PMI. So no trading really until like 9:45, probably even 9:45 to 10 a.m. on Thursday. And then Friday, I don't think there's a reason to trade at all until after this guy steps off the podium, because that's 10 a.m. So I don't think that there's really a good reason to be looking for anything until after that. So Friday probably will be a nothing burger for me. You never know, but it could be maybe swing trade setups in the afternoon that look good that we may be looking at. We'll see. I'm going to hold over the weekend, so I don't know if that's the best idea either, but we'll see. We'll see. Just trying to frame the everything. Okay. The current swing we have on TEVA, we're like 10 cents under my entry, roughly. But overall, though, I mean, it looks good. I like what I saw yesterday with the little bit of a lower wick coming back, and now I mean, this is a trade on the weekly time frame, you know. So based on the weekly time frame, I'm going on under the weekly breakout low. So the breaking candle low on the weekly is my stop, you know, and we're looking for a 1.75 to 1 risk reward just shy of $21. It's not a massively, you know, aggressively moving stock, so it just might take a while for it to do something, and it still looks good. Bigger time frame, so there's no reason to do anything, to think really much about it. Just let it do its thing. It might take a lot longer. This is one where I probably could have sized in bigger than I did, just because of how long it will take, but I didn't. I kind of sized just around on the higher end of my usual sizing, which, like, my sizing is pretty consistent, like 90% of the time. Very few times. There's really not a lot of reason to change it, I think. Because if you're taking something that you're like, oh, I'm going to go small size here, it's like, well, why? You know, is it not a good quality setup? It's like, well, then why are you even doing it anyway? You know, it's like, okay, then probably shouldn't take it anyway. So that's kind of how I view it. You know, people who play the game of like, they don't necessarily have the same strategy. This is not actually a bad thing, because it can work this way. I think it's harder. But if you don't have the same strategy, then I get it, because you can be like, well, I've got less confidence on this, so I'm going to size smaller. And it's like, well, I don't know, dude. I just think that it's trade one strategy, and when you see it, you trade, and when you don't, you don't. And the sizing doesn't really need to be changed that much, because it's kind of irrelevant. Like, the trade's the trade. There's not much that's changing, you know. But that's maybe my opinion. So Tesla's still the top gainer on the large cap list. Let me go back to that Netflix, dude, because I think that Netflix was promising. Yeah, I mean, it's going new all-time high. We just tagged the all-time high pretty much. Yeah. Yeah. Now, rejection potential right now. So here's the thought. Now, I like this one, honestly. I'm not going to trade it right now, but if we get a setup, I'll be ready to go. Just going to get it ready in case we get one soon. Because now if we get a consolidation up in here, and then, like, you know, we stay relatively strong, and then we start to break that consolidation with volume, I mean, that's totally a trade for me. So if we get something like that, now this maybe is more drawn out than it would be, but I'd be looking for that. And that would be, you know, the potential for an all-time high breakout, you know, little squeeze, I don't know, could be really juicy on Netflix. So something to keep in mind if we get the setup. So I think I'm going to add Netflix to my go-to list, really, just so because I end up looking at it a lot anyway. So I'm just going to add it. And she has now been added to the day trade list. Welcome, Netflix. Welcome to the club. You get your chance here for, you know, a good number of trades, and if you fail, then you get moved off the list. So Apple, honestly, honestly is worthy of getting moved off. It's Apple, like the fucking, like one of the biggest stocks in the fucking market. So I leave it on there. Check this out. Powell expected to sound dovish, avoid policy hints in Jackson Hole. Powell risks not saying enough to satisfy market expectations in his remarks. Blah, blah, blah. He expects Powell to sound dovish, but we don't expect the speech to be heavy on specifics, and it's unlikely that key questions about the size of the first rate cut or the frequency or length of the cutting cycle will be answered, and I'm not surprised by that, because Powell's job is to say stuff without saying anything, essentially. He expects a 25 cut in September, but says weaker than expected August job support due to due before FOMC meeting could result in a 50. I don't know, man. I would be surprised with a 50. Let's see what the probabilities say. Yeah, 26% chance of a 50. That could change. We still got about a month to go, 29 days, but I would be surprised if we got a 50. I would be very surprised. So Netflix is breaking out to new all-time highs. That's now a new all-time high, I believe, on Netflix. If we go to a monthly chart, yep, new all-time high, which is crazy. Look at that, by the way. Here's a monthly. So each of the candles are 1 month. All-time high right here. We had the bear market of 2022, and then just an absolute stair stepper back on up. Crazy, you know what? But we only talk about how you know, we take the stairs up and then the elevator down, escalator down. I mean, shows pretty well. Like, we got Netflix drops 77%, by the way. That's fucking nuts when you think about it, right? From the high. And then it's now recovered off that fucking almost 350%, which is crazy. Same as back in 2011 and 2012. Elevator down, and then we took somewhat of an elevator up, and then eventually the stairs. But yeah, kind of cool though. So she's going crazy right now, and you can't stop it. There's no entry for me. I mean, there's just no entry there right so far. So we just get to watch it. You know, I don't just trade blindly on the breaks of these random levels. No, I don't do that. But maybe some people do. It could work. Not me, though. Not for me. How's Meta looking here? Meta is looking like it wants to break. It's breaking the double top. Well, whoop. Not really. Like I said, I'm Meta. Not interested until we get above into the mid to upper 530s. Not very interested right now. Apple trying to get back up to high a day, but no setup for me yet. S&P's trying to break up to the pre-market highs. Nasdaq getting going to the Dow. Nah, not really moving much, and the Russell's actually going down. So the Russell goes down. It's kind of the same story. This is why I think people, not people, but I think a lot of people tend to have been more frustrated over the past, couple of months or quarters, as in they missed the move, because a lot of stocks have not necessarily done very, very well, whereas, a very small handful have done exceptionally well. And then there's a good, middle of the pack, and then there's kind of like the duds, and there's a lot of duds out there. So what's going on, Flippa? We're just waiting. I mean, Netflix and Apple are like, Apple doesn't look good anymore either. No, Netflix looks like the best potential opportunity for me, but I just need a consolidation. So we will wait on her and let her do what she wants to do in the meantime. But talk about a move, man. Talk about a move. Could you have potentially saw that coming? I don't know. Was there anything else? Not really. You just had a very strong, push, consolidate, push, consolidate, push, consolidate, push for the past couple of days. So that's really all I saw on Netflix. Was it the cleanest of pushes? No, because it would kind of push up, pull back a little bit, consolidate, push up, pull back a little bit, consolidate, push up, which is also kind of how things work sometimes. Yeah, so that's it. But now, at this point in time, if it gave me a consolidation in here, would I trade it? Yes. If it continues to go straight up and goes 710, 712, Probably not, because now we're going to be up too much in my view, and I'm not interested in chasing it that high. I would like to see a consolidation under 710, and if we get a consolidation under 710, then it is a valid play. But if we don't, then it's probably not going to be worth it, because then you're chasing. Could still be good. It could still consolidate at 715 and then go for more and go to 725 today. It could. I wouldn't be surprised. It could do it. But my bets would be less good if that was the case. So we watch gold going back to near high day. NASDAQ killing it, bouncing up nicely. S&P just about breaking pre-market highs here, trying to. If the S&P were to give me a consolidation in this general vicinity, I would trade that too. But we are waiting for that to be the case. IWM been trading strange. XBI. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, I would agree. You're much closer to that resistance point and that potential breakout on XBI, which, by the way, could be pretty juicy if we get that. If we break that 103, there's decent bets we can get to 110 plus. Yes sir. Yeah, but comparing that to IWM, I see what you're saying. Yeah, like this move right here was like pretty impressive, and I was like, oh shit. And then like with a false breakout and then a freaking hammer down, just kind of ruined the looks on it. Can't trust it. So like we said, SPY is now less than $2 away from filling the gap, which essentially, I mean, we could even be sitting here and we're just talking shit. Like we could be even looking at an all-time high here soon. I mean, you're less than 1% away. Yeah, if SPY is up like 1% on the day today, we can be looking at all-time highs. So, entering the gap right now as we speak. So, if we get a consolidation on the S&P, there's a very, very good bets in my opinion on that. But we might not. We might just go straight up for all we know. That's sometimes how it goes. AMD is looking pretty strong on the 5-minute. Tesla's not doing much. Google's looking good on the 5. Apple, it's trying to push up there. She's trying to do something. Microsoft pretty strong. Meta's getting going a little bit. Amazon starting to pull back up. Nvidia, as we know, it just keeps going up every day. 130 is a spot. That's like the next break point. And if we break 130, we might be talking about all-time highs here very soon too. Although they got earnings, they got earnings on Wednesday. So they're like a week out from earnings. So I don't know. Can it get to all-time highs prior to earnings? Unless if the market really rips, the rest of this week and after Powell, then into like next week, then yeah. But if it doesn't like go crazy, then I would think that we probably like maybe you push up there and then maybe there's a little bit of something before earnings, and then we're just like waiting for earnings to be the catalyst to either get us there or not. Apple, you might say, oh, is that the break you're looking for? No. Not clean. Not bad. Could be the break point for a nice push right now, but not exactly what I want to see. Because if I played that breakout, I would need to risk under my risk would have to be like under here. And that's just a lot. just based on how it's been trading. You know, you're within like one candle of getting stopped, so it's like, yeah, it's not as clean. I'd like a more clean setup like that. Whereas in this case, we kind of have this. You know what I mean? I'd like it to stay tighter to the top of that consolidation, or the top of the push, right? So that's really all I'm looking for. All right, Netflix, can we get maybe a consolidation in this area? This could be something to be watching. I will not just trade it on the double top high break. It would need to give me this candle, and then on the next candle, if we get, if we stay inside of this area, on the next candle, I'd be interested, potentially, and from there on. But I mean, good bets though. I think if we get that, if it doesn't just break out initially right now, let's say you got in at 708 roughly, give or take. I'm just gonna estimate a stop around 704. That's fucking wide. Then you need to probably target like 715. Yeah, 715. That maybe a little bit lower than that, but that's probably not a bad target. It's a big move though. It's a big move. It's a big move. It's a rough idea though. So maybe a 1.5 to 1 would be 714. So maybe 714 is a better target. Yeah. So we'll see. Just keeping an eye on that because that's a big move, man. That would require, an additional like percent almost. Pretty much about 1% from here. So would mean that you're up 3.5% on the day for Netflix, which is not, we could. I mean, we could do it, but maybe it'd be a lot. Top of the morning to you as well. We got a big break there, or big red candle on S&P. What happened? Any news? I don't really see any news. Nothing big was on the list, right? At 10 a.m.? No. Just Fed speakers in the afternoon. So maybe that gets bopped right back up quickly. Even better thoughts, I think, on the Netflix trade idea. Apple. Story of Apple, though. That's exactly why I don't like it. So, not loving a lot of the charts right now, to be honest. Oil's having a strong day after a week yesterday. Or, yeah, I think it was week yesterday. Netflix, you are currently in all-time high breakout mode. So let's start framing this in case we get the look that we're looking for. Why does that chart look different? Oh, no, yeah. We still got another minute and a half or a little more on this candle. So keep this candle right in here. That would be great. And then we'll see. She could just break out from here and break the double top almost and just go. But that would be, I'd watch her do that. Netflix closes successful upfront, achieves 150% increase in ad sales commitments over 2023. Plans to launch in-house ad tech platform in Canada in November and globally in 2025. So there's news on Netflix apparently. Cool. All right, well. So, what's that? 703. Is it the same price? No, these prices are a little bit off. So it says 705.86 right now. What's the spread? Hey, why can't I trade this thing? Oh no, sorry, I can. Oh fuck, that's dumb. They got like dollar spreads almost. Yeah, I don't think I would trade that. I don't think I would trade that. Spreads are too big. No, yeah, it's a no-go. All right, well, we'll watch it. This is definitely a swing-only type of stock for me. Spreads are way too big. I mean, you're talking about like a 50-cent spread, pretty much. No, more. More, like a 90-cent spread. Holy shit. Yeah, no way. I'm not doing that shit. Yeah, gold looks good. I missed the overnight next leg of the breakout. I was looking at this level yesterday at 25.10, and it broke out at 3 a.m. So I didn't trade it. I could have I look back and say, well, I could have gone to bed and put a buy stop order on. Looking back, it would have worked. Well, I guess it probably wouldn't have hit my target just yet, but it would be up enough to where I would move my stop loss to break even once I woke up, and it would have been a good bet. It's just it broke out at fucking 3 a.m. I'm not gonna. Maybe I should have been up at 3 a.m., but no, I should not have. Yeah, Bitcoin trying to make a little bit of a bounce, but it's just struggling, man. You never know. Maybe after Powell on Friday has a good weekend or whatever, and we get back up towards the trend line. I'm sorry, I didn't trade this. So I can't trade it on my broker right now, but could be a good breakout play. I have to get rid of that because I'm just drawing that out for a visual yesterday. I think Netflix will be good. I think that breakout will work. The problem again is that the spread was too fucking big. I just like, man, that's such a good setup though to me, which kind of pisses me off. 705.56 by 706.72. It's like, what? Like, what is that? Spreads are too big. In the grand scheme, how much is it? If you get the gist of the trade, it shouldn't matter that much. Yeah. But if you enter, let's say right now, you're immediately down $1 on it almost. I know I'm about to watch this thing just fucking rip and be like, fuck, it wouldn't have mattered. But I don't know, dude. It's tough to get that with the spreads like that, And now they're like 60-cent spreads. Not terrible. Not terrible. If you draw the trade out, what do you have? If you go stop loss at 704, like we were saying, you probably have to go 703, like 85, just to be safer. And then you go take profit. We were saying 714. Does that even make sense? No, because your risk 715, you're risking 86 to make 92 off of 16. No, it doesn't make any sense. The risk reward does not make sense. Yeah. It's not as great as I would have liked. And then even 715 is tough. Like that's going to be a big move from here. So I'm leaving it alone. We'll see what happens. If it goes 720, then man, it would have worked. But we'll let her do her thing. Very good setup, though, in my opinion. Good looks. The spreads are just too big, in my view, to play that from a day trade perspective. Swing trade, I wouldn't give a shit. But day trade, spreads are too big. Downside of not trading with a normal broker. Because it's on a prop firm bet account, so you're using fucking Blueberry Markets. Like, who the fuck is that? Like, what is that? I don't know what that is. You know what I mean? If you're using like Webull or TD Ameritrade or I guess Schwab or whatever platform you use, I'm sure your spreads are not that big, and you could get in easily. I should check what Webull spreads are actually. Let me see. I'm actually, because I'm curious now. So. Looks good though. Looks very good. See, look at how beautiful that one is. That's exactly what I'm looking for in general. Exactly what I'm looking for in got Webull open. Oh, I have to re-fucking log in. Jeez. My rewards. I have a reward. Oh, let's fucking go, dude. I have one share or $30 of Apple to claim. Let's fucking go. All right, I'm getting off topic here. Let's check Netflix. Netflix, what is the fucking spread? I am seeing actually the spreads are kind of decent here too. I'm seeing like a 30 to 50 cent spread. 708, 71 by 716, 709, 16. 30, 40 cents spread. Okay, maybe it wasn't that bad. The broker was this platform not that bad. Still a little big. And then the trade just didn't really make a ton of sense because I would have stopped out. Yeah, I wasn't looking at the back of it. It wasn't terrible. Risk reward made sense, but initially, I didn't get in at the exact break. I would be looking at because I had to buy the ask. So at the time, the ask was like 709, 710. So if you put a buy stop, it would have been a better entry. But let's say you went 709 was the entry point, stop at 704, and then target 715. That's barely above a 1-to-1, which is not really what I'm looking for, which I would need more than that. And then at that point, like I was saying, beyond 715, I don't know. I'm a massive fan. So maybe the gods or the trading gods were in my favor there by showing me the big spreads and saying, no, don't take it because of spreads. And the trade wouldn't have worked anyway. I don't know. Because as we speak, SPY just got wrecked. For whatever reason. Tried to get up into the gap and then just got nailed. So far, no gap filling for now. So, yeah, she's getting wrecked. Not that bad, though, in the grand scheme. It's down like a fucking $1 or $2 from the high. Not even. So, momentum is immediately slashed right there. What is looking juicy? AMD still looks pretty good relative. Netflix, well, that would have stopped me out, so it wouldn't have worked. Look at that. Look at that. The gods are on my side there. Google breaking down. Microsoft. Apple's just a chop city right now. Meta. Nothing looks interesting to me. NVIDIA is the weakest link on this list right now. The Russell is getting hammered. I mean, there's no short trades to be had. No. Definitely not. From a momentum perspective, so wouldn't trade the short side right now at all. So if we can't regain and stuff doesn't heat back up in the next like 15-20 minutes, then I probably just dip and have a no trade day. That's what I'm going to guesstimate. We have gold position open from last week, and she looks good. She looks very good, actually. I'm looking for about a $45 to $50 move additionally from here. That may be asking for a lot. I don't think it is. We'll see if she really wants to go. If it gets a push up to about 25.45, 25.50, then I will move my stop to break even on it, which, by the way, the current position on gold is up $152. Yeah. Let's see if I can pull it up. There she is. Yeah, we're up 148, 149. My stop is 170, and my take profit is to make 334. Cool. But this is on a 25K account. So that's the sizing that I'm using on a 25K account. So, yeah, that's really it on on gold. Yeah, there was a trade opportunity, I think, that would have happened at 3 a.m. last night on the break there, which looks really good on the 4 hour, but I was sleeping, so. Yeah, front run the breakout. Okay, I was just thinking about this. I haven't really looked into a lot of data on it. Here's the problem with that. I would say front running a breakout is like a different strategy in and of itself because it's like very subjective. You know, like cuz you don't know if you're going to break out. Like you really don't know if you're going to break out. So then it's like, why would you it's tough to say. Like you have to be looking at a really good, and I've done it by accident before where I have a buy stop and because of the spreads, I get filled a little bit prematurely and then like it pulls back a little bit and I'm technically in before the breakout occurs and then it eventually goes. And it is nice for the risk reward perspective, but I find that from a probability of the trade working perspective, it's just better to wait for the breakout. Because there will be a handful of those trades that you front run the breakout that don't work. So you're going to lower your win rate. Now you'll increase your risk reward, but you will lower your win rate. So there's a balance there. Whereas if you wait for the breakout, you have a better win rate, I would think, and then your risk reward is a little bit lower. You know, pick your poison, really. I'd say. Surprisingly, Apple's held up okay though. I mean, like it's in a consolidation, right? It's not like it's moving really well, but it's holding up despite the S&P, diving a little bit. Yeah, the Russell's really getting hammered. Like I've been saying, I can't wait for a bear market, a more extended bear market, because I think that the strategy will work really well in that environment because, like we were saying before, you kind of got a lot of stair stepping up and then the elevator is down. And so from a momentum perspective, we want the elevators. We want the elevators down because that works really well with our momentum strategy. And last October, I believe, was the best month that I've had, not dollar-wise, but it was like my best execution month. It just felt like everything, I was aligned really, really well. And it just so happens that was the first chunk of that month, or most of that month was red. The market was red. And we were like deeper into a pullback because we started pulling back, I think, in August and September. And then we kind of like dove a little bit deeper into October. And then we put the bottoms in October, November of that pullback. But the end of that pullback, when things were probably, in more free fall and there was more pressure, you had established some breakdowns and then things were kind of consolidating, trying to push back up, and then they got hammered again for that next leg down. That's when, and it also makes sense too, you had more of that capitulation to some degree. That's a word I haven't said in a long time, right? Because there's been no need to say it. But you kind of have people saying, fuck it, I'm out. Like, we might actually be in a bear market, I'm out. And when you get that works really, really well for momentum. The problem is that we haven't, in my view, we have not had the opposite of that on the upside. It's like we've been going up, yes, but we haven't had the euphoria necessarily. You've got it selectively. Like Nvidia's got it, a couple of stocks have had it, but overall, like it's a lot of stair stepping up the past, year, 2 years, whatever it's been. So based off of that, like I just feel like, you haven't had the full potential of the strategy is not being, well, we're not getting the best of what we could be getting. In that scenario, I would imagine I do very, very well. So just knowing those two scenarios, like knowing if we get that, you do very, very well. Knowing on the flip side, you do very, very well when we get really bad bear or we have a more aggressive downside. And then in between, it's kind of like be selective. Swing trades are probably your friend because things can kind of take their time, move a bit slower, looking at the bigger picture. That's probably a better bet. And then letting things play out and just being protective or being defensive with capital and not being aggressive when things are choppy. It's kind of my, frame of playing momentum. I see what you're. Yeah, I mean, it could like, but like when you do that though, it's kind of like if you had like, it's almost like if you had a criteria for front running a breakout, that would be kind of its own trading strategy in and of itself. You know, like front running a breakout, it's like, well, what kind of strategy is that? Because it's not a break. Like you're getting in before the breakout, so you want to be. You're looking ideally, you'd be looking for something prior to the breakout that signals you to get in, you know what I mean? To then get there early and then have the breakout and then that be the momentum and then boom, you're up huge. But you would need, I'm thinking it out. Like I feel like you would need something prior to the breakout, like prior to the actual breakout for you to do that. You know what I mean? Like you need like a trigger to get in. So I'm sure it could be figured out and there could be a strategy built around it. I'm just not sure exactly what that would be. But I'm sure there's a way. There's a will, there's a way. I look at it and I say, like, you know, I was saying yesterday, I wonder if I, you know, played a mean reversion strategy or something like that. But hey, there's the more you do it though, right? If you start doing it, there's probably something that you would see and be like, you know, when I see this, then the breakout tends to be more likely, or when there's this volume thrust, or when, you know, maybe there's an indicator that you can pair up with it, you know, you know, there could be something there, you know. I'm not anti-indicators. I don't really use any. I only use volume and price really and my own lines. That's it. But I wouldn't be against it if I had a strategy built around it, you know. For example, I've kind of gone back and forth over the years with the 9 EMA. That's the exponential moving average, and saying, okay, on breakout trades, as long as the 9 EMA holds, then, you know, you stay in, and it tends to work pretty well. In the case of Netflix, right now, this wasn't the breakout occurred here, but that was really up there, so I don't know, wasn't the best of, you know, it was up a lot as it was. But either way, from a momentum perspective, we pretty much just back tested the 9 EMA, and if it bounces from here and goes for more, I mean, you're still like there. You could build a strategy around staying in, and you're just using an indicator to guide you on momentum and say, hey, as long as that holds, more often than not, the momentum will stay and will continue, and I have a better chance of holding on to this trade if I do so, or if I listen to the indicator. And that's it. Like, that's all you're looking for. It's a little bit of an edge probability. Understanding at the same time that we could break this 9 EMA and then it could go, but that's not your trade, and you don't care because that's going to happen. You just have to play the probabilities. You know, that's really what you're looking at. That's the only indicator if I was ever going to add one in, and I have from time to time added it and tracked a little bit, but I haven't gotten a ton of data on it. That's the only one that I would potentially think about adding back in, just from a how do I ride the trade longer perspective versus like if I really was worried about that or I wanted to maximize my wins, how do I stay in longer? I would look at that. But I also don't really care. I don't really care. That's not a massive concern of mine right now. So I don't really care for it. We got race, by the way. Ferrari. Just keeps going up. What a play that could have been. Workhorse. Whoo, they got nailed off their earnings apparently. Penny stock, pretty much. FCEL. Nice breakdown a couple weeks ago. And Chegg doesn't look great. See what I'm saying though? Like with just running through this list, right, of some of the weaker stocks on the day. Look at how some of these charts. They are not strong. So despite the market going up and being like, oh, it's almost like easy money, right? But that's from the S&P and from the large cap side. Not there across a lot of other stuff, which is why I think if you start getting that turn and that momentum in the smaller caps and whatnot, more of a spread the wealth type of vibe, if we get that, then I would start to get, and we get that for a couple of weeks or a month or two or three, then I would be a lot more skeptical of the overall market peaking out. Because you would have the cycle kind of playing out, right? But now everyone's getting some spreading the wealth out, and the market could go higher for a bit more. But when you start spreading out the wealth, we tend to see a broadening of the market, nearing potentially a top. Doesn't have to be though. People will say broadening is good, and it is good. I'm just saying, from more of like a, okay, S&P, if we start broadening out in the next couple of months, let's just say, and then the S&P is new all-time highs, and SPY or the S&P is at 6,000, SPY's at like 600, and we're like, huh, you know, if that happens, like, yeah, you know, we're up a lot here. You're up a lot. My view is very simple. If we go to new all-time highs yet again, and, you know, we continue to push higher into the election, especially, not that I'm trying to be that guy with, oh, watch out for the election, it's going to be crazy. Like, dude, we might see the exact opposite of what people think is going to happen in the market during the election. Okay? So it's a catalyst, yes, but don't think that it has to do, oh, it has to go up if Trump wins and it have to go down if Harris. No, I don't know if that's the best thinking, because you can get fucked by that. But the election could be a really good catalyst. But if we were to rip, the S&P was at 6,000, SPY 600, you know, we'd be up a lot. And at that point, in my view, it's like, well, if you are worried, take money off the table. If you don't care, and if you're willing to hold through a very nice bear market, if we get one in the near future, then don't do anything. Don't change what you're doing. You know, if you're worried about your positions dropping 75% in a bear market, like we saw with like Nvidia, Netflix, and a lot of those guys, which they could do again, right? They could. If you're worried about that, well, then make sure you position your money so where you don't have to worry about that. Either more cash, or put it in the S&P, put it in the NASDAQ or the Dow or the Russell, so that you're at least diversified. And, you know, you're probably not going to be down 75%. I guess it could. Probably not, though. Nvidia is down 2% today. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to see anything good. Trade-wise, I do not think so. PayPal having a nice day today. AMD is still holding up pretty well. Netflix is still okay, holding up okay. But we talked about like the momentum. It got a little aggressive there. So I think with that said, I am going to wrap up for today. No new trades. We are in gold. And I have TEVA, which is currently down a little bit on the day, but not bad. It's holding up on the breakout. It's a weekly swing trade idea. So that's the deal. We'll see. Yeah, I agree with the election thing being... I honestly think it's dumb because a lot of people are talking about that and hyping it up to be this massive deal. And it is, don't get me wrong, but from the market perspective, a lot of shit gets priced in ahead of time. I'll just tell you that. So, people are thinking that because, let's say, a Democrat wins, that the market must tank because it's bad for the market. Well, what happened when Biden won? The market did not tank. It did not. So, with that said, I'm going to wrap up for today. I'll be back tomorrow for Power Hour. See you then if you want to hang out. Otherwise, any recaps? Well, I have no recaps to post. If I somehow find a trade today, which I don't think I'm going to, if something falls into my lap, then yeah, we'll have a recap. But I do not believe there will be one because checking out these bigger time frame charts, there is nothing on the short side that I'm interested in. And there is definitely nothing on the long side right now that I like. So we'll watch. We'll probably close the computer down at some point. Actually, I won't close it down. I got other shit to do. But yeah, see you tomorrow. Have a great rest of your Tuesday. Peace.